So it's just like, but like when I use it on my VM and I checked my activity monitor,
Hmm.
so what it was showing was that when my Ubuntu was switched on, so like I have allocated it 4 GB and 4.3 GB were going to
Hmm.
it. Oh, sorry,
Hmm.
3.9 GB were going to it.
Hmm.
So when I like powered it off, so that restored back, I guess, but as it was not showing there.
No, no. Can you come again, Madhur? I still not clear what you're saying.
So like when I
You
was
had an Windows system on top of which you have installed uh, Ubuntu in virtual machine, right? VMbox
yes,
or
sir.
something like
Yeah.
that. So when you shut down the virtual box, you think that your resource is not going back to the Windows, is it?
No, sir, I think that it is going back to Windows.
It should go back to the Windows because Windows is your base operating system. But in hypervisor, it is not like that. In hypervisor, Windows is running in parallel to the Ubuntu. None of the resources which are given to Windows are being what do you call, allowed to go to Ubuntu, and none of the Ubuntu resources are allowed to go to the uh, Windows system. Okay, so
Oh,
it clearly separates the two.
oh. So it's like more like dynamic memory allocation, like we learned in C programming.
Dynamic memory allocation would work when it comes to your what do you call it? Your like you installing uh, virtual box on your Windows system, right? There it is
Yes.
dynamically allocating. But in hypervisor, it is not the case unless and until you make it so. Okay, that
Okay.
setting you get to play with.
Okay. Got it.
Sir,
Yeah, Vikram.
yeah,
Yeah.
I had a question regarding hypervisor. So, does the hypervisor itself run on an OS, or where does it? How is this program running on what platform?
So, do you understand the concept of kernel, Vikram? Did you like a Linux system, right? Linux has two components to it, right? When you have a kernel which interacts with the hardware, it manages processes and resources. All other programs come to it to asking for resources. In a similar fashion, a hypervisor is just bare bone software which is there only to manage the resources. It is not a GUI, it is not an OS. It is a platform which only manages the resources the way you want it and the way you want it to be split across the different OSs.
So, is it just like a kernel?
It is like a kernel.
Okay.
So you have very bare bone, systems you will get. You will not have a GUI. You will have
Yeah.
some way to interact with it to set whatever the values you want to and the way it should be run. So you can set it up. Once it is you set it up, that way you can install different OSs onto it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sir,
Yeah. Go ahead, Krishna.
so where are the places the hypervisor comes into the picture, sir, except this?
As far as I know, when it comes to servers, right, and where you want to make what do you call
Uh, but,
infrastructure,
st- but
your
still there comes Linux, right?
no, no, like even in server, right? Even if you're running into Linux, right? There are different services your cloud companies are offering, right? You know about that, right? Software as a service, platform as a service. They charge
Yes, sir.
depending upon what you are renting, basically. If you are running it as a resource base, okay, you're only renting it for the platform. So you just want a machine which is four memory, uh, 4 GB memory, four core. That is all you want to manage. You can do it using hypervisor, but there are many more software which are coming, which already has come. Okay, if you know about Dockers and containers, right? They are more being used for this purpose now than using the hypervisor itself.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you go into Dockers, containers, Kubernetes, all of this, you will see that uh, it's all about managing resources. how you are allocating resources, managing resources, how you are compartmentalizing different OSs or platforms together, right? For in this particular scenario, he is using in Raspberry Pi, he is using uh, this Linux system, right? He had to ensure that it is minimalistic because he would like to use the space or the RAM, and he needs to use it only for that specific purpose. He cannot, have a full GUI installed into his Raspberry Pi, right? So in such a scenario, what will you do? How will you manage it? All these things comes under that. So hypervisor is mostly to manage resources for different OSs. It used to be a very powerful concept, a few years back, but I think since the inception of Dockers and its popularity, right, I think more and more uh, companies are moving towards that. But there exists still some of the places where they will use hypervisor to divide the resources and provide them uh, on a rental basis.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Sir, in Replit 2, we were able to see something like that, sir, I think, while running the program.
Yeah, in Replit, you get it's a virtual environment basically. Okay, Replit
Yes,
must be
sir.
run on a server, right? It must be running
Yes, sir.
different instances whenever you. So that must be mostly, Dockerized, not like, running on an hypervisor.
Oh,
In
yes, sir.
Docker also, you can do that. You can limit the resources and you can tell what all it needs to be done.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but they can do it there as well.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I feel that in Replit, I don't know about Replit, but Colab, Google Colab, or some other platforms, they also offer the GPU or CPU or various type of resources allocation, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They will allow you, you it is rent, whether you are paying for the hardware, paying for the service, paying for the software. It depends on all of that, and there's a variable pay associated with it. So, in as a DevOps engineer, right, a DevOps engineer would be dealing with more of that kind of management.
Okay, sir. Thank
Okay,
you.
okay. So I think if you guys don't have any of the key concept doubts, right, from the week one, should we close the session?
Yes, sir.
I'll see you next week with maybe I'll help you out how to configure the virtual machine, right? How to do it, all of that. Uh, yeah, Venkat.
Sir, before closing the session, one small doubt.
Hmm. Go ahead.
Sir, I haven't attended previous session due to some issues. I mean, I haven't
Hmm.
got the notification, but
Hmm.
what I would like to ask was, refer me one good book, sir. I'm complete beginner.
Okay, as a complete beginner, I think there are two books. Can you guys post it in the chat section if you have information regarding that? Let me just grab it. Okay, I
So
think
the
they can
books
you.
you suggested,
Yeah, classic shell scripting was one, and
yes.
introduction to Linux operating system. Those two books which I have. And
So
apart from that, introduction to Unix was also the third one. I think I have. Uh, How Linux works was the, I think, second book.
oh,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah. Madhur, it is there in the uh, chat section.
oh, yes, sir.
Okay, so if you want to tinker a lot into OS and all that, you guys can look into this. These are very good books to get you started. Okay, just remember one thing. Okay, when you are reading these books, right, treat them like reference material than a textbook. Okay, so for example, you encounter an particular concept, right? Like for example, you are asking questions on hypervisor, right? I'll try to look whether they have some information on it or not. If not, then I will go and look for and resources which will have only information regarding that, and I will limit myself to reading only regarding that. You can go down to a rabbit hole really fast in Linux, and once you go then down that rabbit hole, you may not see an end of it. So you really need to restrict whenever you search for any of the resources, right? Limit to that. learn that essential concept, come back, again do practice. If you encounter another problem, go back and refer to these books and see what you can learn. Once you are introduced to maybe shell variables, or maybe loops, right? Even during that you can refer to these books, but uh, read them to understand how it works. Once you understand that, you have to practice in the VM or in your own machine, because for this particular course, muscle memory is your best friend. The more practice you will have, the answer will come automatically to you. You don't need to think too much, especially when it comes to OPPs. Okay, and for the quizzes, your understanding of how things work will come in handy, where you can use your logic and your understanding of the concepts to answer the questions. Okay, I hope that answers the query. Yeah, Krishna.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Hmm.
in the previous session, it was told that the things which we study in this course would be little different from what the DS students study.
Yes.
What are all the concepts will differ between us, sir?
The concept will remain the same, but you guys should know more about the memory management, the process control. The context is entirely different. In DS course, it is more about data processing. In your course, it is more about operations. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So even if you learn the same concepts, right, in both the courses, the approach should be entirely different. Okay. There, they really have to understand the key core concepts of data processing, how they can do a lot of regular expressions, how they can use them with different set of utilities. The shell variables they learn is more polished towards uh, processing from a file processing point of view. For you, you should understand how a process works, how it works in the memory, because eventually you are going to club your programming in C, this course, into your VLSI course, and all of these courses will come together as we go towards your projects, and they will come really handy. So
Yes, sir.
the approach, even if the like it's the same, the books which I am asking you to refer to is the same, but each, like, depending upon what you want to learn, the context will differ. So the course is the same, you are learning the same concepts, but your approach, your the way you look at it, right, will differ a lot.
Sir, so the lecture videos which we see,
Mhm.
will it be same or different?
It will be same, but there will be few of the lectures which will be added as we go along. Okay, so what we
Yes, sir.
want you to understand eventually is, process management is a very important part. Understanding how system call works and everything is also an important part of it. So as we go along the course, those content will be added to this, because that is not something they will need in the data science course at all.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. And apart from that, you will have these sessions where we will put more emphasis towards the ES part of the course than the DS part of the course. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Any more questions? I'll just stop recording. Okay.